whole different ball game. So now she definitely not going out. She's avoiding people. She's welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about postpartum, the 4 different types of postpartum, and why a father should know about postpartum and why he should definitely look into it. So, what is postpartum? Postpartum is this period of time after a woman gives birth. It can range from 6 weeks to 2 years. Within postpartum, there are 4 types of postpartum. There's postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, postpartum psychosis, or postpartum rage. Each situation is different for each woman. So, a quick synopsis into postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is a mood disorder that can develop in women after giving birth. It is characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, anxiety, hopelessness, and changes in sleep, appetite, and energy levels. Postpartum depression typically occurs within the first few months after delivery, but can sometimes appear later. If you are seeing outside of the norm of her recovery, because postpartum itself is just her recovery time. If you're seeing outside the norm, she don't want to eat, she don't want to talk, she don't want to go outside, she doesn't want to do anything with anybody, those are signs that she might be developing postpartum depression. Because if it's persistent, the way you know that it will be persistent is if she's like, you know what, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay here with the baby, or she don't want to be with the baby at all. That could be a sign that is pointing to postpartum depression. It's important to know these things because there's different ways to treat and how to handle that situation. You don't want to try to solve a postpartum depression problem with a postpartum rage solution, if you get what I'm saying. Postpartum anxiety is a mood disorder that involves excessive worrying and fear after childbirth or adoption. It can occur alongside depression or on its own. So now, postpartum anxiety is when she don't want you to touch the baby. She don't want nobody to touch the baby. She thinks anywhere that the baby is, that the baby is in trouble. The baby is in perpetual trouble all the time. When that is going on, that is a sign of postpartum anxiety. And that's a whole different ball game. So now she's definitely not going out. She's avoiding people. She's not doing the activities. She's overly cautious. And it can really dampen your way of living if you don't calm her fears. Postpartum psychosis is very rare, but it's serious. Postpartum psychosis is a mental health condition that can develop in days or weeks after giving birth. It is characterized by sudden onset of psychotic symptoms. So she might see hallucinations, she might see delusions, she might see confusion. There are some women that have reported postpartum psychosis that have gotten abortions. They see their babies. They witness their babies playing. For a woman that has had the baby and she's going through postpartum psychosis, she could see some of the worst things that's happening to the baby in real time. Okay, so postpartum psychosis is not common, but it definitely does happen. And then you have postpartum rage. Postpartum rage is a mood disorder that can cause intense anger, aggression, and agitation after giving birth. It's also sometimes called postpartum anger. So postpartum rage, it could fall anytime. And you're not the problem. You're not the problem all the time. Sometimes we can be the problem. But postpartum rage is not towards you. There's so much going on in her body, which brings me to my next point. The hormones, after a woman gives birth, the hormones in her body are shot. There's no more left. Okay? It's like she's rebuilding all over again. Okay? The body is trying to get back to her pre-pregnancy. So it's important for you to know so that you show empathy and patience during this time. So before the pregnancy, not because sometimes we think about postpartum and we think about, oh, okay, she was pregnant and she has the baby. Okay, these 6 weeks is going to rev her up. She's going to be good. Bro, if it took a year, if it took just about a year for the baby to get here, why do you expect the recovery process to be 6 weeks? It's not going to be 6 weeks. She won't be right in 6 weeks. All right? She won't be right in 6 weeks because because her body is going back to her pre because her body is going back to pre-pregnancy, not even during pregnancy, pre-pregnancy. It's going to take some time. So in this time you got to show empathy. You got to show patience. She Some women, they could get it on as early as 4 weeks, as early as 5 weeks. Some women have said that. But some women, it takes them 3 months. It takes them 6 months. It takes them 9 months. Some women, it takes them a year to start getting back in the bedroom. So you have to, in your mind, you don't know how the pregnancy is going to affect her body. So you got to be prepared, bro. You got to be prepared for a lengthy amount of time without being intimate with your wife. You got to be prepared for that. And you got to be prepared to do it with joy and understanding. Because if you're prepared for it and you got an attitude about it, it's not really it's going to dampen the whole experience. So, so as a father, you need to know about postpartum depression and anxiety because it can mess with your mental. It can mess with how you are taking things. See, you need to be her rock during this time. As a father, you need to know about postpartum depression because it can affect you as well as mess with your mental health, your ability to support, and potentially affect the child's development. Men go through it too, but you need to know about these things because if she's going through postpartum depression so bad, how will she be able to effectively take care of the baby? And the first 6 months of a baby's life is very crucial. It's very crucial. Sometimes sometimes you see different things that you implemented in the child's first 6 months of their life carry them through their toddler, through their adolescent years. Like you still see it. So those first 6 months are important and you need to know about it. So to cap things off, Matters of Fatherhood is a page where I'm going to be talking about everything that has to do with fatherhood, especially in early childhood. I'm a father. Um, my oldest isn't even 10 yet. So I'm going to be mainly speaking about these early stages in childhood and fatherhood mindset, um, being a husband, being a father, being um, uh, a believer in Christ, doing all these things, being all these things. If you watched all the way through, I appreciate you watching all the way through. Click that subscribe button. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. God bless.